Update 37.0 is around the corner, and Ninjakiwi has revealed that the Wizard Paragon is going to come out in the very next update. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what happens when you cross-path all 3 tier 5 wizards, so that you could get a rough idea of how a Wizard Paragon could look like. Now granted, I may not be the person who have gotten 1 billion Wizard XP, but I'm pretty sure we still have enough XP to unlock it when the time comes. So if you haven't already, go ahead and farm as much wizard as you can. So we're going to start off by looking at all of these 3 paths individually, how strong they each are: the Archmage, the Wizard Lord Phoenix, and the Prince of Darkness. And we're going to do so in 3 plays. So let's start off with the top path, Archmage. We're not going to cross path with anything yet, or actually I'm going to cross path with the bottom path of 502 because, well, that's the path that most people go for if they want to get an Archmage. So let's just see how it deals against some common rounds, like let's say, I don't know, round 90. So as you guys can expect, it deals relatively reasonably well against DDTs. But how about a harder round, like let's say round 95? Our first problem is immediately purples, which is kind of impossible for the Archmage to deal with since, you know, it can't pop purples natively. However, remove purples from the equation and it seems to actually do a half decent job actually at dealing with round 95, but granted, you still got the 45 mods to deal with. But the point of this experiment is to see how good it deals against DDTs, and it managed to pop actually all of the DDT layers. As long as you could figure out how to deal with the spawns plus the purples, then actually it can deal with round 95 pretty easily. Okay, how about 198, the round that's infamous for having 200,000 RBE and also quite a lot of ceramics to deal with? Well, instantly, I'll be honest, it doesn't look too good, and we're leaking quite a lot already, so that is not a good look for the Archmage. And I seriously doubt it's able to pop a bat by itself, but let's go ahead and take a look at how strong it is regardless. And we managed to actually pop the bat layer. Unfortunately, we won't able to deal with the DDTs. Maybe if this was on a longer map, we could have dealt with them, but either way, the most that we get out of this is that we are able to pop the bat layer. Even so, Archmage is definitely not the strongest of them all. Let's try another tower. Let's go with the Prince of Darkness, and this time we don't actually have to cross path with anything. So let's immediately go back to round 90 and see how this fares. Okay, immediately our problem is that it cannot pop lids, so obviously, this fella has to be cross path with Fireball if you want it to pop lead. So actually, let's go ahead and get our graveyard up by, I don't know, getting a few, rather allowing it to pop a few of these fellas. So once you get the graveyard up, you can actually try round 90 again. And actually, the graveyard fills really quickly. So let's see. Oh yeah, and not to mention that the graveyard balloons actually does, you know, contribute to the graveyard itself. And there we go, we can beat round 90 easily. So as long as you have a graveyard, the Prince of Darkness is actually pretty powerful. Now let's see how it deals with round 95, which is the round that the Archmage had a problem with. Seems to do actually quite okay, at least for a beginner part, but that's just for the purple and lids. Actually, it deals with round 95 really well. Minus the fact that we are going to leak a few ceramics here and there, but that's because there's also the 45 mods underlying that. So as long as you can boost it, it's actually pretty alright. I'm not holding my faith out for round 98 because we know it sucks, and so does round 100. This fella is good when you deal with multiple balloons or mod class balloons at once. That much we know. Okay, and how about the final one, the Wizard Lord Phoenix? Now this is the most powerful wizard upgrade. Even without its ability, it is extremely powerful. Let's just send round 95 just so you can see what I'm talking about. Like, first off, it detects camo balloons automatically without cross pathing, and even though it can't pop purples natively, its ability can, and that's really awesome in my opinion. The fact that the Wizard Lord Phoenix can actually pop purples, even though it's like not supposed to, I think that's pretty neat. And of course, the Phoenix itself is not that strong. However, combine it with its ability and boom, you'll notice that all of the mods just straight into pieces. So if you want the best results, always go for the Wizard Lord Phoenix and activate its ability timing wisely. Now obviously it can deal with round 100 pretty easily, so as long as we activate the ability, it's going to take some time to pop it. but we can eventually reactivate the ability again, and we can get rid of the bat, and it spawns pretty easily with no problem whatsoever. Okay, that was a bit more than quick, but we're going to pop it eventually. Trust me on that. So let's activate its ability now, and let's see, can we pop it before it reaches the exit? And yes, we can. So yeah, the Wizard Phoenix, if you use it correctly, it can be powerful. And yeah, we're still going to Lych 20 MGs. Maybe I overestimated this fella a little bit, but still, it's a pretty powerful tower, and you shouldn't mess around with it. You need to activate it at the right timing. So now that we've seen all the 3 cost paths that the wizard has, let's go ahead and upgrade all of them at once. So now we have a 5/5/5 wizard tower. So they all have its advantages and disadvantages. Now, the thing about this is that the Archmage is able to decamo Bloons by itself, but so does the Prince of Darkness. So that's fine. That's fine. We can live with that. So let's actually head back to round 95, and immediately you see that our problem of purple Bloons actually, but hang on a second, is able to pop the purple Bloons quite a bit. How? I am honestly not entirely sure. And I might have cost path this wrong because I couldn't see how many pops there are. But as you can see, with a 5/5/5 wizard, we are able to deal with round 95 pretty darn easily. Let's head over to round 98, a round that has a lot of Bloons, and we definitely had problems dealing with before. Now, without even touching its ability, with the power of all these 3 wizards, actually deals with round 98 really easily, and I suspect it's going to do round 100 in a similar way. It's going to be really easy for us. I mean, the fact that it's just basically the Archmage and Wizard Phoenix, these 2 basically give us a massive DPS boost, and voila, that's it. It managed to defeat the bat relatively easily. So let's actually head on to another tougher round. How about round 139, because there's round 119, cause we got a number of bats, including 45 bats, and not to mention they have more health points and they are faster. So the 5/5/5 wizard, it ought to stand in free play, right? And technically this is considered free play, so it ought to stand. But let's see how far you can go without actually touching its ability. Now, of course, the Prince of Darkness, its graveyard is running out, and that is pretty obvious. And don't worry, we'll replenish it eventually. But let's see how far we can go. Well, at least without the ability, it's not doing good. So let's actually retry this again, but this time we use the Wizard Phoenix ability. Now, granted, the Wizard Phoenix ability isn't really affected by the other cost paths, but I still think it's an interesting thing to look into because it still grants a massive DPS. Okay, so no, even with the Wizard Phoenix, we're still having trouble with round 119. So that's a bit disappointing. I swear we actually did slightly worse because we don't have any graveyard to help us deal the extra little bit of damage to these bats, and that's slightly problematic. So what I want to do now is actually see how many Bloons this wizard could handle, the 5/5/5 wizard could handle at once. So we're going to start off with 999 Bloons, all with a spacing of 1. We're not going to add on any modifiers, just so that we could see how powerful it is. Now, first off, Ceramics, I'm pretty sure it decimates it really easily. And along with more class Bloons, that really shouldn't be an issue, especially with the massive graveyard boost that it will get. So, yeah, this shouldn't be an issue. Now, BFBs, that might be a slight problem. Or actually, hang on a second, let's actually set this to round 100 so that the Bloons won't go too fast and we get a reasonable speed of BFBs. So yeah, this is starting to cause us a little bit of problems, but it's not that big of a deal, at least so far, even without the ability. Now, might be time for us to activate the ability, and as you can see, yeah, with the ability, it becomes even more powerful. It's able to deal with BFBs as long as you activate the ability on time. Now, the question is, are we able to not leak any Bloons before the ability comes back up again? And the answer is yes, we didn't leak anything. So that is pretty awesome. So this means that as long as you activate the ability 24/7, A 555 wizard should be able to withstand an infinite amount of BFBs with no problem whatsoever. Now, how about Zero MGs? How many Zero MGs can it withstand? Let's go ahead and activate the Wizard Phoenix like immediately, because we already know that the BFBs were pretty darn close to making us lose. And yeah, I don't think that this is gonna help us. I will definitely, it can't withstand an infinite amount of Zero MGs, but that is to be expected. I didn't seriously consider this to work, but it is good to know that you know, there's something in there. Okay, so now let's try this again, but this time we're going to do it with DDT, see how strong it is, because we know the wizard is actually pretty darn strong against DDTs, and actually it works pretty well. I didn't even have to activate the ability, so that's pretty neat. Now we're not going to test bats, we know that's obviously not going to work. So I'll reset its pop counter for one reason, because I want to know exactly how much damage it can deal to one test balloon. So let's go ahead and send out one test balloon, and we can see how much damage it does. Quite a bit actually, not as much as I was expecting. But keep in mind, this is without the graveyard and without the Wizard Phoenix ability. So if we just let it run its course, you can see that so far it only dealt 3,816 damage, and that is close to the amount of health points you get from 10 MG. Now let's try this again, but this time with a graveyard up. So in this case, in theory, it should deal a lot more damage. And there we go, you can see the graveyard actually contributes a lot of damage to this test balloon, and it's kind of impressive if you ask me, because honestly, I didn't expect the graveyard to deal that much damage at once, but surprisingly it did. I think it's going to end up doing like double the amount of damage than without a graveyard. So yeah, the graveyard, we should expect the graveyard to be extremely powerful when the Wizard Paragon comes out. And look at this, 10,000 damage dealt. That is a lot. So we're going to reset the pop counter one last time, and this time we're going to send a test balloon, but this time we're going to activate the Wizard Phoenix, so you can see how much more damage it deals. Now, admittedly, the test balloon has a very small hitbox, so the projectiles, or rather the 8 fireballs that comes out of the Wizard Lord, it won't hit this test balloon 90% of the time, but as you can see, it's still pretty damn powerful. And actually, I'm not sure why the Prince of Darkness didn't spawn while, or rather why this thing didn't spawn the Graveyard Balloons while the Wizard Phoenix ability was up, but it didn't. So because of this, we end up with less pops. But at least we know now that the Wizard Phoenix doesn't really do, or rather add as much damage as, say, the Prince of Darkness. But keep in mind, that's just for one balloon. If you add in many balloons, I'm pretty sure the Wizard Phoenix will do way better. Actually, why wait? We can test out multiple test balloons at once by sending 100 of them at once. So let's go ahead and reset its pop count right over here, and let's send out 100 test balloons at once. I might have actually sent it by accident. Oops. Okay, round 2, let's send out 100 test balloons, and let's actually count how much damage it does in total. So it's not filling the entire screen, but that's the entire point. It's not supposed to fill the entire screen. So we end up doing 81k damage. That's not too bad. So what happens if we add a graveyard just like last time? Will we be able to keep up with the amount of pops? Well, it seems that our BFBs are already dying, and that's just because there's way too many balloons for it to handle, so it died. However, this time, it grants us a massive 227.5k damage. That is a lot. Now, let's see what happens when we activate the Wizard Phoenix ability. Actually, I should have reset its pop count. Oops. Okay, so now let's try this, but with the Wizard Phoenix. Okay, let's actually reset its pop count, and let's send out a bunch of test balloons, and let's activate it now. And look at the damage count just rack up. Like, look at this, man. It's just going up like really quickly. So this is extremely powerful, and in fact we are dealing more damage than prior. Even without the graveyard, we managed to deal close to 300k damage, 299.3k damage. That's actually a lot. There are still a few things that I want to test out, and that is what happens if we add in all the modifiers in. How strong is it going to be? Now, the Regal and the Camo probably won't affect the wizard, the 555 wizard that much, but let's go ahead and jump straight to Moab class Bloons because we know that it's going to deal with this pretty well for a fight cell mix. So let's go ahead, and it seems that we're doing pretty well, although the graveyard isn't able to sustain itself, so that's a minor problem. But regardless, it seems that we could hold an infinite waves of fortified Moabs at round 100 without any issues of leaking. We might leak eventually, but I seriously doubt that. Like, it's just fluctuating between how many is able to pop at once. So yeah, we don't really have a problem against fortified Moabs. Now, 45 BFBs might be where the problem pops up, because I suspect that even with the Wizard of Phoenix, it might not be powerful enough, or rather, it might not be able to do enough damage to deal with all of these. So let's see if we can get the Wizard of Phoenix ability up in time. No, we're already leaking a lot, and it's mostly due to the fact that there's a lot of super cell mix, especially this thing again. I mean, look at this, the amount of lives that we have just like went down, and I don't think the Wizard of Phoenix is actually helping us here. Like, it's just popping all of them into super cell mix, and the wizard itself isn't able to do anything to it. And look, we managed to hit 0 lives, which means this fella is not going to attack anymore, which is GG. Okay, so let's try this again. We know it's not going to work against fortified 0 MGs, but how about some fortified DDTs? I think it should still be able to work similarly to the Moabs where oh, actually, I think we might need to activate the Wizard Lord Phoenix ability once a while. Oh, actually, I don't think once a while is going to be enough because the DDTs move extremely fast. And therefore, yeah, this will happen. The ability won't be able to come out in time, and you'll lose a lot of lives at once. But it's still a pretty interesting experiment regardless, because as long as you have this fella up like 100% of the time, then yeah, it can theoretically do an infinite amount of damage, or that it can sustain infinite number of fortified DDTs. But unfortunately, because the abilities are never up 100% of the time, that is not going to be the case. But surprisingly, actually I'm surprised they managed to do the last bit of DDTs. Now finally, let's move on to something fun. What happens if we remove all the modifiers but give it 0 spacing? How is it able to deal with it? Let's actually start one tier lower with rainbows. And oh, actually we dealt with it pretty easily. How about cell mix? I think we can still deal with it easily. Oh my god, we still leaked. Actually, how much do we leak? Let's reset our health so that we can see how much we leaked. I mean, look at this. I'm not even using the wizard. I'm not going to use the wizard ability just yet. Oh, actually, we just managed to survive. I think it's because the graveyard didn't have 100% uptime. So yeah, we managed to survive this, but just barely. So let's take a look at Moabs, like 999 Moabs. We probably need the Wizard Lord Phoenix for this, just to give it the additional pierce that it needs. Okay, we managed to pop all of the Moab layers. Actually, we managed to pop the entirety of the Moab, so that is surprising. So let's see if this can work without me using the Wizard Lord Phoenix ability. I'm not sure how many Moabs there are stacked underneath there, but it seems like a lot. Oh, okay, yeah, so we definitely needed the Wizard Lord Phoenix ability up for this to work. That's a shame, but still, it's pretty interesting regardless. Now, let's see what happens if we send a clump of BFBs. And again, we definitely need the Wizard Lord Phoenix, at least judging by our previous experiments. So, I'm not entirely sure how much pierce this fella does, but it seems to be doing pretty well. We are able to defend these, or rather, to a limited extent, we are able to defend these small clumps of what class Bloons. Obviously, it's not as strong as we hoped, but let's actually activate the Wizard Lord Phoenix one more time, and hopefully we can get rid of all of these. Okay, we managed to get rid of everything. Let's see how we do against DDTs. Now for this, we definitely need the ability up on time, because there's no way we can just deal with it solo. So Let's see how we deal against them. And oh my god, it just go with the entire graveyard like it's nobody's business. And there's still a bunch of DTs surviving. So yeah, this fella doesn't really do too well against, actually does reasonably well against like clustered groups of Bloons. So I'm actually sort of impressed. So yeah, we've learned that the 555 wizard is really powerful, and because of this we can expect the wizard Paragon to be extremely powerful. How powerful it is, I'm not entirely sure, but it's worth taking a second look at. So with that being said, it's been a fun video so far, and I really hope that the wizard Paragon will live up to everyone's standards. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like if you like this video, leave a comment if you have anything else to add, and I'll see you guys in the next video.